Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi amma ba'd. I know it's been a while. I didn't post because I've been trying to do a lot of reflection on myself. So, sometimes in life we get busy. We get busy doing things, whether if it's personal growth, spiritual growth, physical growth, whatever the circumstances may be. But that's not the point. The point is, today I want to talk about hardship. I want to talk about hardship and difficulties. Now, hardships and difficulties is something we all go through as human beings. Like, that's something we all go through as human being. That's within human being. That's the nature of human being. The nature of human being is to struggle, right? So we all know that as human beings, we struggle. Like, it's a reality to our eyes, right? Whether if it's financial difficulties, health difficulty, physical difficulty, mental illness, whatever it is, right? Family issues, right? So we all go through challenges and difficulties as human beings, right? Now, how do we cope with these difficulties? In order to understand this concept of difficulties and how we cope with these difficulties, first we have to look at the Quran's perspective on difficulties, right? Number one, Allah states in the Quran, like, do they truly say that they believe and they won't be tested? So Allah is telling us in the Quran that you say, you Muslim, you say that you believe, but you don't expect Allah to test you, right? You're saying you believe, but you don't want Allah to test you. Allah is telling you, do you think you would say you believe, but then you would say you believe, but then at the same time you won't be tested? So Allah is telling us we are definitely going to be tested, right? Now that's one explanation. Now another ayah, Allah states, we would test you of something of fear, hunger, loss of lives, fruits, etc. Right? So Allah is telling us He would test us with something of fear, hunger, loss of lives, fruits, etc. Right? So Allah clearly tells us in the Quran what He is going to test us with. But then Allah says, give glad tidings to those who are patient. Allah is telling us, give glad tidings to those who patiently persevered to these struggles by maintaining a relationship with Allah through these difficulties and seeking Allah's help through these difficulties, right? Seeking Allah's help through these difficulties. But one thing you have to understand is that when we face difficulties, it's not like we have to have a straight face or like because, for example, to understand this, for example, you might lose a loved one, but then you don't get sad. Now that's wrong, right? Because it's human nature, when you lose a loved one, you're going to get sad. You see, you naturally get sad because that's someone you love, you're attached to, so you get sad, you cry. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you that right now. In Islam, there's nothing wrong with being sad or crying about a loved one passing away. Of course, there's some boundaries you can't cross, like weeping so loud and all this, you can't do that. But to cry a little bit, get sad, emotional, it's okay, right? So that goes to show when we face difficulties, it is okay to seek help. Like, we're human beings. We are weak. Allah tells us in the Quran, He created us from clay. He created us from a clay, right? From clay, right? So, when you face difficulties, it is definitely okay to seek help, right? Like Yaqub alayhi salam said, I only complain of my grief and sorrow to Allah. When he says he only complained of his worries and griefs so solely to Allah, right? So that goes to show that it is okay to seek help when going through difficult. It is okay. You're a human being, and you can feel the pain. It is okay. But what's not okay is when you start questioning Allah, like, why me? Why Allah? Why did you put me in this situation? Or so start thinking bad of Allah, negative of Allah, or you start blaming Allah. Why is He doing this? And just because you start thinking negative of Allah. Now, this is not allowed. This thinking negative of Allah is not allowed. What we're supposed to be doing as Muslims is trying to persevere through these struggles and knowing that there's something good that's going to come out of these difficulties. Because Allah states in the Quran, Innamal usri yusra, Innamal usri yusra, right? Indeed, with hardship comes with ease. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Allah tells us that 2 times to reassure us. Allah does not tell us 1 time with hardship come ease. He tells us a 2nd time with hardship come ease. Because we know the Prophet Muhammad, he was prosecuted, beaten. They did everything to him. The kuffar of Quraysh, for 13 years, they was prosecuting the Prophet, doing all type of things to him, right? For years and years, they were just being horrible to him. But then he came back victorious. He had an army. He came back to Mecca, and he forgave every single one of them. Imagine all the pain they put him through, killing his servants. He still came back and forgave all of them. This is our Prophet. This is our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Someone we're supposed to look up to. Someone we're supposed to look up to. Not these celebrities and rappers and singers. No, we're supposed to look up to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the only thing I wanted to say today. So whatever you're going through, my brother and my sister, be patient, persevere, and don't have negative thoughts of Allah. Because the more you have negative thoughts of Allah, is like the situation is gonna get worse. So don't complain, don't have negative perspective of Allah, and just continue moving forward and don't give up.